Namaste and welcome back to today's episode of Mahabharata Matters. In the previous episode, we saw how a Brahmin narrated about the birth of Drishtadyumna and Draupadi. He also spoke about the arrangements of Swayamvara, where the bride chooses her own groom for Draupadi. After hearing this, Mother Kunti had asked all of them to start going towards Kampilya. On the way, they came to the banks of river Ganga. This area was dominated by a Gandharva along with his wives. He did not want any humans to come and take bath in that area. He wanted to stop the Pandavas from entering the river. He started to threaten them and ask them to leave the area. But then Arjuna said to him, "The rivers, the mountains, the nature, waters are for everybody. Nobody can proclaim dominance on these kind of resources." But the Gandharva was relentless. He started showering arrows at them. Arjuna, being the greatest archer, he replied back to each one of them. The Gandharva was on a chariot. It was a beautiful chariot. Arjuna now took an arrow and chanted the Agni mantra on it. And the arrow, now empowered with the Agni mantra, started spitting fire and it burnt the chariot of the Gandharva. This brought the Gandharva down to his knees. He was humble now. He asked for forgiveness for his misconduct and misdemeanor. He, in fact, wanted to befriend the Pandavas. He introduced himself that he was known as Chitraratha due to his beautiful chariot. Now that his Ratha, the chariot, was burnt to ashes, he said, "Now I will call myself as Dagdharatha," which means one who has a burnt chariot. He even wanted to befriend the Pandavas. He wanted to learn the mantra that converted the arrow into Agni Astra from Arjuna. In exchange, he offered to give Arjuna the sight to see what's happening in all the three worlds whenever he wanted. He also offered 4 divine horses which would never be tired. The Pandavas agreed to befriend Chitraratha. Arjuna asked Chitraratha to keep the horses with him for now. He would reach out to Chitraratha whenever he needed them. By then, Pandavas had revealed their true identity to Chitraratha. Knowing who they were, he wanted to offer them some more help. He suggested that they will need a Kulaguru who would give them advice in times of need. He suggested that the Pandavas approach Maharshi Dhaumya and ask him to be their Kulaguru. The Pandavas were very happy to hear that, and they started traveling towards Maharshi Dhaumya's ashram. What are our takeaways from the story? Humility in defeat, humility in victory too. Chitraratha clearly displayed humility after he was defeated. Even though they had won, the Pandavas were also humble. Neither of them became arrogant or humiliated after the war. That's an exemplary quality. After an event has passed, to drop all ill feelings and move on is a wonderful aspect we can learn from this episode. Arjuna asked Chitraratha to keep the divine horses with him until he needed them. We do not need to display our cards at all times. Just because we are powerful, we do not need to display it always unless needed. That's what we can learn from Arjuna in this episode. No matter how powerful and strong one may be, it's a great virtue to be able to seek advice from learned people and elders. The Pandavas were willing to accept Dhaumya as their Kulaguru. They did not brag about their strengths, but they were willing to ask for guidance. That's something to emulate as well. With these thoughts, we come to the end of today's episode. Remember, in this series, we are discussing matters of Mahabharata because even today, Mahabharata matters. Hari Om!